Hi everyone, it's Annabelle. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be repotting my Aerides Odorata or Aerides Odorata from self-watering in a mix of leca, pumice, a little bit of synthic in there to a larger pot because I'm getting to the stage where roots are growing higher up on the stem, which means that they're having more issues getting down into the pot there. As you can see, it's doing very well and I just think it needs a bigger pot at this stage to continue its growth in. So I am going to put it into a very similar mix, just in a larger pot. We're going to use an 18cm pot with outer that I got from a discounted plastic supply store and a 18.5cm Stuart inner pot, and it fits so perfectly. It's like they were made for each other. Only got about 1 centimetre worth of reservoir at the bottom there, but that should be fine. This is basically going to be a semi-hydro setup, a little bit of extra reservoir and an outer that I can take out and kind of inspect the roots. I'm confident now. When I first put it into this setup, obviously it was very experimental and I wasn't sure how it's going to do. So I wanted to put it into a smaller pot so I can really observe the root growth, because obviously in a smaller pot, the roots are going to hit the edge sooner, so you're going to be able to see them much sooner than in a larger pot. I'm really happy with how it's done. I'll pop a picture up on screen of when I first got this little one. I originally kept it in a bark moss mix and then I switched it to the self-watering setup it's currently in. It's done great in both, so really vigorous grower. Really happy with it. I got it as a young plant and I think we must be getting nearish to flowering size. Such a vigorous, fast grower. So I'm going to get on with the repot. We're going to get rid of the top layer of the small pebbles and I'm going to put a larger pebble top layer on, which are nice polished pebbles. So they're going to be very smooth, and I find Vandas roots just find them easier to get through, although this Aerides doesn't seem to have had any issues getting through the small horticultural grit top layer that's on there at the moment. So with that said, let's get this out of the pot and take a look at what's going on down there. So I'm just going to empty, I'm kind of running low on buckets at the moment. I'm just going to empty the top layer off. We're going to reuse what's in there, but I just want to get rid of that top layer of the grit. If a little bit gets mixed in with the rest of the mix and I leave it on, that's fine. It's not absorbent, so it is just going to provide some air gaps in the media. I'm happy I've got most of that off. There is a chunk of bark there that I left on where it was attached to a root. I'll see if I can get that off in the repot. So now we've got rid of that pebble top layer. Since I'm reusing the media, I'm just going to pour the media that was in there already straight into the new pot. So it's got new root starting, so just need to be careful of those new root tips. It's a very juicy root tip just in there. I'm just going to squeeze it to get it out. Media promptly goes absolutely everywhere despite my careful planning. So I'm not going to fiddle around with this root system. I am just going to pop it straight in to the pot. I'll just pop a little bit of synthic in that bottom mix there. I'm going to have to do a lot of clearing up later with the amount that I've spilled everywhere, but that's just fine. So we've got it level with kind of how I want it in the pot. And then I'm just going to try, and I haven't soaked these roots, so I shouldn't really do this. Just tuck that one. Let's see if I can. So I should be soaking these first to soften them up. I'm being very lazy here. Often, as long as you're gentle, you can kind of get them in the pot like that without damaging them. So now that those two are in the pot, I am just going to fill around with media. So in my new media mix, I'm actually going to include some large grade Ceramis, which I got recently, and I'll link you to the video where I talk about the different grades of Ceramis in the corner here. But Ceramis holds more water than leca, so I'm just using a large grade mixed in with the leca and pumice just to hold a bit more moisture. Obviously it's got the synthic in as well, and a few growth stones which were in the old mix, which it seems to have enjoyed. So I'm just going to fill the top. Obviously we want more moisture at the top if possible to kind of balance out the fact that we will end up with a dry top layer. So I'm just going to tuck a few little synthic strands down there and then fill around. Just take it out while I do that so that we can kind of see what's going on in the pot. So I've just brought you down so you can see a little bit closer. I've tucked some synthic strands going like vertically through the pot. Obviously it had synthic in the old mix, which it seems to have really enjoyed, but just to make sure that moisture is kind of being distributed evenly through the mix. You can see kind of how I've tucked it kind of vertically through. And then I'm just going to fill around with the new media. So for me, I'm quite happy to buy Aerides as seedlings or young plants because of how rapidly they grow. Obviously I've put the picture up on screen of when I first got it. You can see it's grown so fast in quite a short period of time, and it's got a lot of roots. Very, very vigorous, very fast growing species of Vandaceous type of orchid. So now that I've done that, I'm just going to put, oh, I can see a few more air pockets, and that's okay. So I'm just going to put a top layer of these smooth pebbles on. So I got these for my Vandas and Rinka Stylus. So they are nice, smooth, non-porous river type pebbles that have been polished, and I think they've got a slight resin coat on them, possibly. A lot of aquarium gravel does have that. So it's advantageous for us because it's really going to mean that they're non-porous. And the reason I'm using the large type pebble is because I have noticed that some Vandas with very thick roots struggle to get their roots down past the horticultural grit, the very fine pebbles, because they've got very thick roots and they kind of search for gaps between the media to get down into the media, and when they've got basically very few gaps, they don't get down as easily. So just gonna, they're also a little bit heavier, these, so I can put them on roots and kind of direct them down. You do end up kind of playing Tetris to find the stones that fit with these larger stones though. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that. There's a few air gaps, but they do have the synthic running through them, so hopefully they'll still stay relatively moist. So now what I'm going to do is flush through the pot and with tap water, and then refill with my normal nutrient solution, which is made up with 0 water, and I will link you to the video that I've done recently on how I make up my nutrient solution. It's watering day to day, so it comes in quite handy because I've already got some at the ready, and then I will be right back. So that is my Aerides Odorata Alba variety, all repotted and ready to kick into growth. hopefully. It's a very, very vigorous plant. Just give you a final show of the potting mix that it's in. And hopefully it'll enjoy that. Lots of air pockets, but lots of moisture. And Aerides and Rinca Stylis particularly do like a lot more moisture than maybe other Vandaceous counterparts. So this is very similar to what it's been in. It's going to do well, and I will come back to you later with an update. Maybe it'll flower this year. It's certainly grown a lot in the last year, so maybe this will be the year that we get a flower spike from it, because I think it is big enough now, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it'll need to be a little bit bigger. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you enjoyed this quick repot and update for my Aerides Odorata, and hopefully it continues to do as well as it has done. If you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to give it a like or subscribe to my channel for more regular orchid updates, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye!